The billionaire took one bite, then suddenly put his fork down and asked, "Who made this dish?" The restaurant fell silent. When the waitress stepped forward and told her story, no one in that room was prepared for what came next. The restaurant was known for perfection. Every plate that left the kitchen looked identical, carefully measured, precisely plated, and designed to impress the kind of people who didn't ask about price tags. But that night, something different happened. At a corner table sat Armand Khurana, a billionaire known not just for his wealth, but for his standards. He rarely dined out, and when he did, restaurants either earned his respect, or quietly disappeared from his list forever. The staff knew who he was. The chef knew what was at stake. And every dish that left the kitchen that night was prepared with nervous precision. In the middle of it all was Sanaa. She wasn't supposed to be part of the kitchen. She was just a waitress. Quiet. Efficient. Invisible to most. But behind her calm demeanor was a life no one in that restaurant really knew about. Every morning before her shift, she cooked at home. Not for herself, but for her younger siblings. After their parents passed away, Sanaa had become everything for them. Provider. Caretaker. Guardian. Cooking wasn't just a skill. It was survival. It was love. That night, the head chef faced a problem. One of the signature dishes, reserved for VIP guests, was ruined just minutes before it was supposed to be served. Panic spread through the kitchen. "We don't have time," one assistant whispered. The chef ran a hand through his hair. "If we don't send something out now, we're finished." And that's when Sanaa spoke. Hesitantly. "Chef. I can try." The kitchen fell silent. The chef looked at her, confused. "You?" Sanaa nodded. "I've made something similar before." He didn't believe her. But he didn't have a choice. "Fine," he snapped. "But if this goes wrong." "It won't," she said quietly. Not confidently. But honestly. The kitchen watched as she moved. Not rushed. Not panicked. But focused. She didn't measure every ingredient like the others. She didn't check recipes. She cooked the way she always had. From memory. From instinct. From something deeper than training. Within minutes, the aroma changed. The air in the kitchen shifted. Even the chef noticed. "What did you put in that?" he asked, almost unconsciously. Sanaa didn't answer. Because she didn't know how to explain it. It wasn't just ingredients. It was years of cooking for people she loved. The dish was sent out. Placed carefully in front of Armand Khurana. The entire staff watched from a distance. Waiting. He took one bite. And everything stopped. His hand froze. His expression changed. Not in disappointment. Not in approval. But in something far more unexpected. Recognition. He slowly put his fork down. And then he asked the question that sent a chill through the room. "Who made this dish?" The manager rushed forward nervously. "Sir, is there something wrong?" Armand didn't look at him. "Who," he repeated, calmly but firmly, "made this dish?" The chef hesitated. For a brief moment, he considered taking credit. But something in Armand's gaze made lying impossible. He turned slightly. And pointed. At Sanaa. All eyes shifted to her. The waitress. Standing quietly near the back. As if she didn't belong in this moment. "Bring her here," Armand said. Sanaa's heart pounded as she walked forward. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear of losing her job. But from something she couldn't explain. Because the way he looked at her felt like he already knew something. "You made this?" he asked. "Yes," she replied softly. Armand studied her carefully. Then asked something no one expected. "Who taught you to cook like this?" The question lingered in the air. Sanaa hesitated. Then answered. "My mother." And in that moment, something inside Armand shifted. Because the taste, the exact taste of that dish, was something he hadn't experienced in over 20 years. The restaurant remained silent as Armand leaned back in his chair, his eyes never leaving Sanaa. "What was your mother's name?" he asked quietly. Sanaa blinked, confused by the question. "Zara," she said. The name hit him like a memory he had tried to bury. Zara. The woman who had once worked in a small roadside cafe. The woman who had cooked meals not for money, but with heart. The woman who had changed his life, long before he became a billionaire. "I knew her," Armand said slowly. Sanaa's eyes widened. "That's not possible," she replied. "She never worked in places like this." "She didn't," he said. He looked down at the plate again. "She worked somewhere far more important." The room faded into the background as Armand spoke. Years ago, before the wealth, before the power. He had been just a struggling young man with nothing. No connections. No direction. No hope. Until one day, he walked into a small cafe. And met Zara. She had noticed something in him. Not his clothes. Not his situation. But his hunger. Not just for food. But for something more. She fed him when he couldn't pay. Encouraged him when no one else did. And told him something he never forgot. Success isn't built by money. It's built by heart. Sanaa listened, her eyes filling with tears. Because she had heard those words before. From her mother. "She used to say that," Sanaa whispered. Armand nodded. "She said it to me too." Silence. Heavy. Emotional. Real. "What happened to her?" Armand asked gently. Sanaa lowered her gaze. "She passed away, a few years ago." The words landed softly, but carried weight. Armand closed his eyes briefly. A quiet moment of respect. Of loss. "But she taught me everything," Sanaa continued. "Not just cooking, but how to care." Her voice trembled. "I just never thought it mattered outside my home." Armand looked at her, his expression firm but warm. "It matters more than anything," he said. The next moment changed everything. Armand stood up. Not as a customer. Not as a billionaire. But as someone who had just found a piece of his past. "This restaurant is known for perfection," he said, addressing the staff. But tonight, perfection wasn't in technique. He looked at Sanaa. It was in truth. He turned to the manager. "If this is how your waitresses cook, then you've been wasting talent." The manager said nothing. Because there was nothing to say. Then Armand faced Sanaa again. "I'm opening a new restaurant," he said. "Something quieter. More meaningful. And I want you to lead it." The room gasped softly. Sanaa froze. I'm not trained," she said. "You are," he replied. "Just not in the way people expect." Tears filled her eyes. Not because of the offer. But because for the first time, someone saw her. Not as a waitress. Not as someone struggling. But as someone valuable. Months later, the restaurant opened. Not flashy. Not extravagant. But full. Every night. Because people didn't come just for food. They came for something they couldn't explain. Something they felt. And at the center of it all was Sanaa. Cooking the same way she always had. With heart. With memory. With love.